I am ready to go when you are.
All right, let me do my intro and we'll get this thing going. All right. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today, we have another NBA debate here, joined by my guy, John from Clutch Talk. How's it going, my man?
Going good, man. Happy to be here. I'm my favorite person to collab with. So, what I'm saying? Just happy to talk hoops with you.
Yeah. And I'm happy for you to be here. So, I mean, today in particular, we're going to be talking about the top 25 greatest dunkers ever. Now, I feel like this is something it's hard to put like a formula to it. A lot of it is going to be subjective, which I think this is the perfect time to debate because I feel like we're going to have very different lists. And especially with 25 people, like, there's no way we're going to have like the same list. But I mean, I think the way we're going to do it, we're going to go backwards to add for the suspense at the end. So we're going to do the first five at the end, then the next five, then the next five, and everyone in the top 10 will kind of spotlight more, but we can talk about each person individually. So with that being said, moving from our 25 to 21, who are your first five? Starting with the 25, who are your first five
Okay,
on
so
your
you want
list?
me to go ahead and just list the first five and then get into a little bit of reasons, or get into reasons right after?
You can get into reasons right after.
Okay. All right. Cool. So my number 25. This. I'm excited actually because this is gonna be fun. My number 25 is got to be none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, some people are gonna say it might be a little too early to throw him there, but I mean, for a man that dunks with that much force, his wingspan is 7'3", and I mean, I just love those dunks when he euro steps and then just dunks on somebody off the euro step. And also, I was doing some research and I found out that Giannis is already number 7 in all-time NBA dunks. So that man's throwing it down. 24, Patrick Ewing. I feel like he's a big slept-on player in general, but also big slept-on dunker. I mean, we want to talk about Giannis' 7-foot wingspan. This man had an 8-foot wingspan, had amazing timing. And I mean, you could tell on the defensive end he did that, and he's just extremely strong, man. He just throws some of
Mm-hmm.
them dunks down with so much force, was moving people out the way. Number 23, DeMar DeRozan, man. DeMar Frozen DeRozan, man. I mean, many people will argue that he should have won that 2010 dunk contest against Nate Robinson. And I mean, when he came into the league, he was really just known as a dunker. And then now, he's got his reputation in different assets of the game, mid range and all that. But DeMar, his force, his creativity in air, his hang time is second to none. 22, Russell Westbrook. Man, I had to give this to him because of his speed, because of his force, and the fact that he's only 6'3". You don't see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
6'3" players catching bodies the way that Russell Westbrook been catching bodies. I mean, this man's gotten game winner off dunks. This man's just done everything. A real game time dunker. And then my last one right here before I shut up, JaVale McGee, 21. I mean, I think he's
Ooh.
gotten. I know, right? So okay,
Yeah.
so I wanted to go higher, but my list is just too good. Higher than JaVale McGee. So look, he got robbed of the 2011 dunk contest. That's the one that Blake Griffin won for just dunking over the hood of a Kia.
Mm.
Uh, but in my opinion, the reason why I put players higher on this list is because they've won dunk contests. So him not winning this dunk contest really hurt him for like this list in general. But I mean, he's a 7-footer that can jump high. Like he's a 7-footer that he doesn't have force. He has finesse in there. So I love JaVale for that. So that's why he coming into my 21st option. He's always been a reliable lob option too.
Yeah. See, this is why I like this debate so much because all five of those guys you said, I'm not going to give away if I have them on the list or not, but I don't have them in these five spots. So
Dang. So
that's
let
what,
me hear yours then.
so my number 25, and I did a little rearranging at the end, but my number 25, this was a late addition. I got Andre Iguodala. I
Ooh.
think, this guy has some of the nastiest posters. I mean, he's dunked on Yao Ming. I mean, I don't know. It's just really tough. This guy, he's one of those guys that can bring the ball super low too and dunk it, especially for a guy his size. Like, there's not a lot of people that could do that. And my number 24, honestly, like very similar dunker to Andre Iguodala. Actually played kind of a similar time. Came a little bit after him. But both of them are still active players. But this guy's not in his prime anymore. But Rudy Gay, Rudy Gay could like throw down on anybody. Like I can't even remember how many posters he was only with the Raptors probably for like half a year. I think half his points had to be poster dunks. on somebody because that's just what it felt like. And especially in Memphis, I mean, the dude had like insane hops. So I had to put him at number 24. But speaking of Memphis, for my number 23, I got the guy under all the fire as we're recording it right now, Ja Morant. Might seem kind of crazy, but at the end of the day, I mean, Ja gets up really high for a guy his size. I mean, we don't see a whole lot of players do that either. The one knock I did have against him is that he's probably, if this was a ranking of the best missed dunks ever, he would easily be number one. But there's so many dunks that he just doesn't execute on. So I think 23 is fair. Now, my number 22, this guy actually did win a dunk contest as a rookie. He still has some elite dunks. He doesn't quite dunk as much anymore, but hey, he's had some posters this year, and he's also killing it this year, and that's Donovan Mitchell. I mean, the guy gets up. He's only I don't know. He might be he's at least one of the smallest players on my whole list. Because even though he was listed like I think 6'3" when he came in the league, he's really 6'1". And especially the guy is like 215, 220 pounds. So it's like the fact that he can get up like he can and also poster all these dudes. I mean, he's one of the strongest dunkers too for a guy his size. So I got him number 22. And my number 21, this is a bit of a throwback, but I had to put him on here. It's Daryl Dawkins, a.k.a. Chocolate Thunder. The guy literally destroyed backboards. I can't leave a guy like that off my list. I mean, one of the best power dunkers you'll ever see. And I don't know, it's just hard. Like, again, all these guys on this list, and there's several that I couldn't put on the list, but you have to put a guy on the list that just completely shattered the glass. So those are my 25 to 21, but I don't know. Okay. What do you think?
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you a question. So I won't ask you what number he is because I don't want to ruin it, but just if you put in Ja, let me just ask, just yes or no. Did you put Russell Westbrook in your list? Did he make your list?
All I will say is he was considered. You'll just have to find out if he was or wasn't above him.
Oh man, well yeah. Hey, family out there, stay tuned because we're gonna have to figure this out. All right, brother. So you now you want my
20 to 16.
16. Yeah. All right, here we go. Number 20. I gotta go with this might catch everybody off guard. I'm not gonna lie. Because the name is big highlight name, Showtime. Shaq. Shaq is my number 20. And the reason why I gotta go him at 20 is because I mean his force, not his versatility, his force, his power on those dunks were just insane. I kind of think back to that picture where he's going up and there's like 4 Nets players. I believe it was like Richard Jefferson, Kenyon Martin, and Jason Kidd, like all trying to grab Shaq and bring him down. And Shaq is just rising up and just throwing that thing down. And I'll be real with you, out of everyone in my list, like he might have the most force and the most power to his dunks than anyone in this list. But the thing is, I prioritize like how impressive it is for you and how difficult it is for you, and also dunk contests. So that's why I had to put Shaq at my 20. But I do want to put that caveat that, I mean, he's by far probably the most powerful dunker on this list. Number 19 might put up a good battle for Shaq for most powerful dunker. And you said it best, Daryl Dawkins. I mean, he broke the backboard, baby. I mean, he was the chocolate flying thunder, the whamma, bamma, and much more. I mean, his strength was kind of just a part of his dunks, but he was also, extremely creative. He was very powerful with his dunks, so I got to put him at 19. 18, I got to go with another big man, DeAndre Jordan. Very powerful dunker. Known for his ability to get high, but still be a big man, right? Like I think back to Shaq, right? For instance, he doesn't jump very high, but he's already so big. But a player like DeAndre Jordan, he's already so big and he jumps very high. Mm-hmm. And also I had to put him here because he probably has one of the greatest alley-oops of all time. R.I.P. Brandon Knight. He went to bed with that alley-oop, man. That was crazy. I remember watching that in my living room, so it's crazy to think about now. Number 17, Clyde the Glide, man. Clyde Drexler. Probably out of all these dunkers, like one of the smoothest ones. It just looked like he was like floating in the air when he was out there. It was just so fluidly. He's extremely versatile when you think to his athleticism and also just his creativity in air, man. He used to just do the craziest things in air. And he also just had great timing. So for his great timing, his versatility, him being so smooth. Got to go with Clyde the Glide at 17. And 16, I put him 16 because I had to give him respect. But I honestly think he's the most overrated dunker of all time. And that's Blake Griffin. Okay. Don't get me wrong. He is explosive dunks, but a lot of his dunks are just throw-ins. A lot of his dunks are just layups, to be honest. He just threw it in because he was above the rim. And also, I'm not going to lie, that dunk where he had over the Kia was so overrated. Like, people kept talking about, wow, Blake Griffin's going to jump over the car. He jumped over the hood of the car, okay? There is a big difference between jumping over the hood of the car and jumping over the entire car. So that was a huge one that I needed to call out. And also the dunk over Paul Gasol. I'm a Lakers fan, so I got to represent that one where he threw it in over Paul Gasol. That was really not impressive. He just threw it in. So Blake Griffin's big overrated. So he's coming in at 16 for me.
I will say I know Blake Griffin. He did have one that was off a rebound against Pau Gasol too, and he put it like that. I know everyone.
Okay,
everyone remembers,
that one was bad.
Yeah, everyone remembers the one, but they never remember the one off the rebound.
Yeah, that one was bad. I'm not gonna lie, that one was bad.
Yeah. So we have some I feel like similar in this category, but so for my 20, it's someone you didn't mention. I guess if we're going off overall, like if we're ranking all these players on who's the best player, he probably would be the worst of everyone on my list. But I mean, he's been in the league for several years. I think he lasted probably like 13, 14 years or something, and that's Gerald Green. I mean, the guy he literally had insane hops, especially like when you used him on like 2K. Like I think 2K14, dude was like the most broken dunker in the league. But I mean, the guy was in the dunk contest too. I think he was the original one that did like the cupcake thing. So I got to give him some credit. And I remember he had that one, like it was last game of the regular season. Like he caught a lob when he was at the Nets and he did like a windmill, like off the lob. Like that's just insane. My number 19 is also kind of a power dunker. In a way, it's kind of similar to Blake Griffin, but this guy is the most total dunks of anyone ever, and that's Dwight Howard. You know, like the guy, I mean, he's also won a dunk contest, right? The Superman, maybe not the original Superman, but he still is Superman. But I mean, yeah, like he probably had the most ferocious dunks ever. And again, they're more like thrunks than dunks because it's like throwing them in, but it's just hard to leave him off this list. My number 18 though is someone you said, and you said it might have been surprising, but the real Superman, and that is Shaquille O'Neal. You know, like just thinking about like all the times where the dude pulled the whole shot clock down and then he broke the whole thing and it fell down. And then, like you said, there'd be 4 or 5 dudes on him. I remember the one on Chris Dudley and then he threw the ball at him because he got so mad. I mean, he had the key one with Kobe to Shaq in the conference finals where he catches it with one hand and he like puts it right down. Like it's like an actual like skill. Like, you know, like, and I guess I came out wrong because all of this is skill, but like it just like feels more like an arithmetic thing, like for Shaq's dunk. So I got to put him at 18. My number 17, I don't know if you'll have him on this list. You haven't named him yet. I know you've been kind of critical of him before, but you can't deny this guy has crazy dunks. Even he's had some against your guy LeBron, and that is Paul George. I mean, you can't deny that dunk against Birdman, like in 2013, I believe it was. That was insane. And he had another crazy one where he almost replicated that dunk last year with the Clippers when he didn't really play that many games. But I mean, this guy will get up every now and then. He'll throw down like a mean slam. So I got to give him credit. And also, I think he probably got robbed in the 2012 dunk contest because he did a glow in the dark dunk. I thought that was insane, and the judges didn't agree or something. But my number 16 is someone you also said, Clyde the Glide Drexler. The guy soars through the air, probably has the most hang time of anyone as a dunker except maybe like Michael Jordan. But like the dude literally, like he kicked his legs up and like it almost felt like he was levitating or floating or something. I also think he was in the most dunk contests for someone who didn't win one. So I mean, the guy has got to be up here as an elite dunker to have that much consistency. But I don't know. What do you got for 15 to 11, and what do you think of those?
Man, I love that Clyde the Glide one. I do agree with you for that point of Dwight Howard kind of like thrunking it, but I feel like Dwight Howard dunked it a little bit more than Blake Griffin. I feel like Blake Griffin is a definition of a thrunker. Like he just be thrunking all the time.
Maybe. Yeah.
Do I be throwing him down? But All right, so then let me get to my 15 then, so I don't waste too much time here. 15. Honestly, this guy got played twice, and if he would have got at least one of those, or if not two of those dunk contests, he'd have been higher on my list. And that's Aaron Gordon. I mean, he should have been a two-time dunk contest champion. He's one of the players that he can be both an in-game dunker and he can be a dunk contest dunker. And I hope you and the family out there know what I'm saying by that. There's a lot of players who are just better in-game dunkers versus dunk contest dunkers, and the same way vice versa. There's some players who are just better to dunk in the dunk contest than they are to dunk in the game. And I think Aaron Gordon can really fit both of those shoes. Very creative, a lot of hops definitely, and a lot of power to him. So I got to go with Aaron Gordon at number 15. Number 14. Now this one right here might shock the world. Oh, and before I get to my 14, I got to give you your credit for Paul George, because I'm not gonna lie, Paul George is not on my list, and it's because I forgot him, not because he shouldn't be on here.
Mm.
But as I look through my list, I'm now gonna keep it in the back of my head. I'm gonna say, like, who could have Paul George replaced? Because so far, I don't know who Paul George could have replaced. To be honest with you,
Tough.
but
It's tough.
it is tough. But all right, let me keep going. Number 14. This one might shock the world. All my OGs out there, do not come after me. Don't get mad at me. I gotta go with Dr. J, Julius Irving, man. I mean, he was one of the pioneers of modern basketball. He helped modernize the dunk. He was known for his incredible timing and his dunks, and they just looked effortless. So for that, I mean, I got to put him at 14. Sorry about that.
You're good.
And so for that, I gotta put him at 14. And I mean, I like his dunks and they're nice, but as the years have gone by, and it's like I heard this year in the dunk contest, like the dunk contest that we seen years ago that were getting 50s, they would be getting almost nothing nowadays. So it's like Julius Erving, he's a good dunker, but what these guys are doing nowadays are just too crazy. So I couldn't put him higher. Number 13, I got T Mac, man. Shout out Tracy McGrady, man. I feel like an underrated dunker because his cousin was Vince Carter, so he kind of was always held up to that comparison. And I mean, we'll see where Vince Carter is at. But T Mac, I mean, he's a 6'8" player, long, lengthy. He's a 7'2" wingspan, super athletic, and all-time high confidence. I mean, he was willing to just throw it down on anybody, man. So for that, I got to put T Mac in at my number 13. Number 12, brother, I'll be real with you. This one hurt my heart, okay? This one hurt my heart, but I had to be honest, okay? Sometimes in life, you can't just pick what you like. You got to be honest with yourself. So I had to go with LeBron James at number 12. I mean, he's one of the most athletic players in the NBA, period. His ability to jump out of the gym has resulted in some insane dunks. I do think he's more of an in-game dunker. I know earlier I just talked about the difference between in-game dunker and dunk contest dunker.
Mm-hmm.
I think LeBron goes on more of the side of the in-game dunker. The alley-oop over Jason Terry, like, to this day, might be one of the craziest dunks of all time, just because of the way Jason Terry hit the ground after. So that was crazy. So yeah, I got to give LeBron at number 12. His speed, strength, athleticism, ability to jump puts him at number 12. Number 11, I got to go ahead and get into Spud Webb, one of the smallest dunkers of all time. And he also won the dunk contest, 1986. I got to give him this number 11. Not that he's better than a lot of these dunkers. Like LeBron James does better dunks than Spud Webb, but how impressive it is for a player that's 5'7" to be able to get up and win a dunk contest. I got to give him the number 11 spot. And then where do you want me to stop at, brother?
You can stop right there because I'm gonna give my next 5.
Okay, perfect.
So I guess solid choices. Definitely considered everyone you just named on my list, but well, I guess we'll see if I had them all. So number 15 is actually someone who you asked me about. It is Russell Westbrook, who I have on this list. Just simply like he has the insane power factor for a guy who's a point guard. He would always throw it down like he's trying to break the rim, and like something like that. I mean, I will say like I would have probably been more willing to put him higher, but he does have a tendency to sometimes do similar dunks, where it's like he always brings it back like that and just throws it down. But I mean, you can't deny that that's still like insane with a 40-inch vert. I mean, you got to give him credit there. Number 14 though is also I'm gonna reveal my bias, but maybe not enough because it's my guy right here in the back, D Rose. Just the same. It's kind of just the same thing with Russell Westbrook. He was one of the most insane power dunkers for a point guard. The reason I put Rose ahead of Westbrook is I feel like just when you look at some of the greatest D Rose dunks, like he'll have the back scratcher dunk, and then he'll like glide through air and like bring it around like a double clutch, and then like one hand dunks. Like I feel like there's more versatility with the dunks, and that's the reason I did put him ahead of Westbrook on this list. And if maybe if there were more dunks to be had around, if he participated in a dunk contest, I would be more willing to put him higher. But I feel like 14 is fair. Number 13. You'll probably be, surprised, I guess. But I did have your guy, LeBron James at number 13. I agree with you. I think he's definitely more of an in-game dunker, and maybe that's why he's never done the dunk contest or something like that. But, just talk like, again, the Jason Terry dunk, that's one of the craziest dunks ever. Actually, probably what I think is maybe even better than that dunk, it's one that happened against my Bulls. I don't know if you remember when he jumped over John Lucas.
Jumped right over John Lucas, caught the lob with one hand. That was crazy.
I feel like personally that's probably even a better dunk than the Jason Terry one. So,
wow.
And people forgot it like in one day because Blake Griffin. I think that's when Blake Griffin had that dunk on Perkins or something. Then the next day, but that was still insane. But I have a number 13. Number 12 is someone who you haven't said yet. But, I mean, this guy could literally glide, and he had creativity with his dunks, too. Was in the dunk contest a few years, and I believe he won it. It's Jason Richardson, like from the Warriors. I don't know. It's just really hard. Like, he has such a unique ability where it's like he combines a little bit of everything in his dunks of some of the guys all above him. You know what I mean? So it's like you could even argue that he could be higher on this list, but I guess, like, more so the dunk contest than in-game dunker type of feel. So I guess like that's why I only had him number 12. And then number 11, I did also have Aaron Gordon in this group. I agree that he's more of a dunk contest guy than in-game dunker. Although he does have some crazy dunks like that one on Christmas just this season against was it on Shamet? I think it was on like Landry Shamet or something.
Yeah, it was on Landry Shamet. He came in just wow.
Yeah, that was insane. So. I mean, the guy has crazy dunks. I got to give him credit. Everyone here has crazy dunks, but like this guy arguably got robbed of the dunk contest twice. And I'm telling you that as a guy who both those guys who won the dunk contest are on my Chicago Bulls right now. So I mean, there's that for you. So I got Aaron Gordon number 11, but yeah, I guess you can tell me what you think of those, and then you can get into your number 10.
Okay. So I got two questions for you, brother. All right. So first question for you is, if Derrick Rose stays and plays longer and wins a dunk contest, does he get higher in your list?
Easily, yeah. Easily?
Mm. Okay. Well, where would you put him? Like, if you could just kind of right now.
It's just so hard because like some of the greatest dunkers, it's hard to picture like what dunks they could actually have. But I guess if he won a dunk contest, like I would probably be willing to put him like top 10 or so at the very least. Maybe even better than that. But like I guess that's like the bare minimum.
Okay, I like that. I just wanted to get your thought on that. My next question to you is, if LeBron James would have won a dunk contest, in your mind, would that have made him like a better player? Because I know a lot of people, that's a knock that I hear. And I think it's absurd. It's like when the other day I was at the barbershop, I'm getting my hair cut, and I got this OG telling me why he think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. And he telling me, he's like, LeBron never participated in the dunk contest. I'm like, that don't matter, okay? Like this, it's an all-star weekend. So what do you think? Does it matter to you?
I don't think him participating in a dunk contest would matter that much. Just because it's like you'll be showing off flashier dunks, but it's like I feel like we've already seen flashy dunks from LeBron or from Jordan or like anyone else in any discussion that's being named in the same sentence as like those guys. So it's like I feel like it wouldn't really matter as much. I mean, he drives to the paint a lot. He dunks a lot. So, I mean, well, I don't know what's the point there. But, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. I just wanted to get your temperature on that because, yeah, I also don't think that makes a difference. But he's a GOAT no matter what.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's go ahead and get into these top 10. You want me to go ahead and run off one for one, or you want to still do 5-5?
We'll do one at a time. So you can go do your number 10 first.
All right, my number 10, you had him higher in the list, okay? And I don't know if either you're tripping or I'm tripping, but the family out there is going to let us know who's wrong here. But number 10, I got Gerald Green. I mean, Gerald Green is known for his incredible athleticism. You talked about it earlier, his ability to get high above the rim. He has a 41-inch vertical, which is just insane to hear. But that isn't just what makes him good, man. I think that what really makes Gerald Green a top 10 dunker in NBA history is his ability to contort and have body control in the air. He'll get elbows above the rim and then somehow spin and then bring it to his left hand and dunk it. So, but to have that kind of body control, I got to give it to him. And he's also a 2007 dunk contest winner. And, you know, for these top 10s, I'm not going to lie, I got to give a little disclaimer. For these top 10s, like if you want a dunk contest, that helped you out a lot more, at least in my list, because this is what we're kind of basing it off. That's not the sole reason why I'm going with who I have here, but if you won one, it helped you a lot. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I think most of these guys in my top 10 have at least won a dunk contest. But you know, and I will say about Gerald Green, him doing it as well with like 9 fingers, like that's also
that's
crazy.
great. I actually forgot about that. That's actually wild.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I think the reason he lost his finger is from dunking. Is it not? Like what? I think that
I
was
don't know.
how he lost it or something. I don't know. I'd have to look more into that. But my number 10 is someone who I feel like you probably won't have him on the list. But I mean, they would always say about this guy that he basically walks on the sky as he's moving through air, and that is David Thompson. You know, Denver Nuggets legend. I mean, for several years he was an elite scorer, and probably about half of those points every single time were straight up drives to the basket, and most of them were going to be dunks. You know, probably doesn't have quite as many posters as some of these other guys on here, but just like it's just like the creativity, you know, like I feel like he had the in-game creativity as well. Like maybe it's just like the poster thing probably is like the only thing that I would hold against him, because I mean he definitely got his, but I just don't know if he has the same ones that some of these other guys above him have. So that's why it's tough. But I got him number 10. I got to give him credit. But I don't know. Who do you got at number 9?
All right. And I'm not going to lie. That was a great number 10. A sleeper pick. But it's the same thing that I was saying earlier with the other player. Like, who am I going to move out? Like, yeah. I don't know who I'm going to move out. So let me go ahead and give my number 9. RIP. Kobe Bryant, man. Got it right here. Legend, man. Inspiration to me, inspiration to millions out there. He was an extremely versatile dunker. Kobe Bryant, I feel like the reason why I put him here is not only because of his 1997 dunk contest, the fact that he's a champion for that, but also the fact that Kobe Bryant was so versatile. Like he was able to give you a real power jam and throw it down, but Kobe Bryant was also able to be very finesse and get to the hoop and kind of finagle his way in there and then throw it down. So for that, man, I got to put Kobe in at number 9. And I mean, when we look at some of his best dunks, the one on Dwight Howard early in his career, that one later in his career against Emeka Okafor, I mean those were just some spectacular dunks. And real quick, man, just before I get off Kobe, y'all better show some respect and stop forgetting about Froby, because Froby used to be one of the best dunkers in the league. And I know, you know what I'm saying, now, Kobe passed away and people show their respect now, but I've been a Kobe fan since the rip. And I remember when everybody was hating and saying like, oh, Kobe's just he's just a jump shooter, because they were looking at 24 Kobe. But people better remember Froby was an elite dunker, which is why he ended up, taking that dunk contest. So that's why he's coming in at my number 9.
Yeah. Solid pick, of course. But my number 9 is someone who, I believe you already put on your list. Maybe I have him too high, maybe you have him too low, but we'll see. But I have Tracy McGrady, who again, it's like a little overshadowed probably from his cousin, but at the end of the day, like this guy is also like a similar taste of dunks. I still remember like there's one dunk that he had, I think with like the Magic or something, where he was against the Bulls, and this is if you thought today is the dog days of the Bulls, like this was like the really dog days of the Bulls. And he would like split the defense, and then he came over, and it almost felt like an NBA Jam level dunk. Like he was just like forever in the air and just threw it down. And I still remember too. Probably might be his best dunk was in the playoffs against Dallas, and he threw down on Sean Bradley. Like I gotta put him somewhere in my top 10. Just such a unique player, but yeah.
T-Mac was a difficult one, man. I mean, you'll be guarding him. His eyes will be looking all directions. You don't know where he's going.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. But all right, number 8, coming in at number 8 here for me is a powerful dunker, probably one of the most powerful dunkers of all time, Shawn Kemp, man. I mean, he threw down some thunderous dunks, very authoritative, and he also probably had one of the most memorable dunks in NBA history, and then also really put Seattle on the map, kind of because of his dunking abilities, and he extended his NBA career because of that. So for that and those thunderous throwdowns, I got to put him in at number 8.
Yeah, so my number 8, it's probably gonna be the most controversial pick on the list, but because of where you had him, but mine is Blake Griffin. I know he has a lot of the throw dunks and everything like that, but you can't deny that like every time he threw down a dunk, like the crowd like blew up. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's part of what dunking is. It's just about how much can you actually wake up the crowd, right? We've seen the dunk contest now, like. I mean, Trey Murphy this year had a great performance, like dunking, but like the crowd was like, yeah, woo. And then when Mac McClung came on stage, like it erupted, right? So, but every time Blake Griffin would dunk in game, it would erupt. And I know he jumped over the hood of a Kia, like yes, that is fair, but of course everyone still like erupted at that as well. And it is creative because like who has done that before? Even like over a hood or over the trunk or whatever. Like I got to give Blake Griffin his flowers. I'm putting him number 8 on my list.
Okay. Hey, look, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that because he did, kind of bring Lob City to life. Like him and DeAndre Jordan and CP like birthed Lob City. So I'll give you that. He's the great dunker. But it's funny. It's funny that you said what your number 8 would be controversial because of where I had it. It's funny because I think my number 7 is going to be controversial because of where you had this player, and that is Dwight Howard. I honestly was very shocked that you had him, like, I guess, that low in your list. He's a dominant dunker. He's a 3-time dunk contest champion. 3-time. Like, that's crazy to hear. He's extremely – we know for his extremely powerful dunks. His ability to dunk with one hand, his ability to dunk with both hands. He also has great timing because he gets that on the defensive end because of those blocks. And I mean, when we look back to his superhero days, or like how you said, not the original superhero, but when he was superhero coming out of the telephone book, and then he raised the hoop to like 12 foot, and then he dunked it. Like that was big time. And I remember being a young little kid watching that. My eyes like, wow. So I got to give him number 7, Dwight Howard. Maybe that's a little personal in it, but I got to give it to Dwight.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. So my number 7 is something that you'll probably appreciate. I actually had him higher on my list than you did on yours, but it's your guy back there, Kobe Bryant, at my number 7. Like just when I think of Kobe, like just the way he moved in air, and then also like there's so many iconic calls like for him. Like there was one time where he went up and it's like, buckle up for Kobe Bryant, or like he just sucked the gravity out of the building, right? So like, and then like just his dunks, like going behind the back and then a reverse dunk, like pretty much no one had probably ever seen that before prior. Or the dunk against the Timberwolves where it almost felt like he was like out of bounds and he somehow came back in. He dunked over 2 people, and I think one of them was Kevin Garnett, who was a eventual defensive player of the year. Like his dunk against the Hornets, that one against the Nets with Gerald Wallace running on him. Like he just has so many posters, and he also won a dunk contest too. So like all that into consideration, like I feel like you could even argue maybe he should be ranked better, but I got to give him at least number 7. Maybe if he did have like, in his later years, he did like kind of tend to slow down dunking. I guess like that's like what you see now with Donovan Mitchell, even though Donovan Mitchell still has some every now and then, but just not as frequent as it was when he was a rookie or second-year player. And maybe if he kept it going throughout, I probably would have been more willing to consider Kobe even higher, but at least top 7, like that's probably like where I'm going to put him. But I think, we can both agree that he's definitely top 10. So
Yeah, definitely agree. He said he's top 10, and I mean, I could have rearranged this and put Kobe as at number 7. I had him at 9. I could have definitely squeezed him in there at 7. So I love that pick, and I love how you brought up the fact that he started, Froby dunking on everybody and being very ferocious, and then he finished his career with the fadeaways and all that. And I know we're not talking about Kobe as a whole, but that just shows to his game he switched it totally. So big shout out to Kobe for that. Number 6, man. We getting into top 5 category, top 5 area, man. I'm excited, but number 6, you'll like this one. He's a current Bull right now. Zach LaVine, a 2-time dunk contest champion. A lot of players, like I mentioned, are usually in-game dunkers or dunk contest dunkers. Now the rest of my players that I have here from Zach LaVine on are all both in-game and dunk contest dunkers. That's how great they are. He's known for his incredible athleticism and his creativity. I mean, come on, man. He had a windmill from the free throw line that won him a dunk contest. The ones where it was him and Aaron Gordon going at it, like I remember thinking to myself, like, oh man, thank God the dunk contest is back, because they just rocked it, man. So I got to put Zach LaVine at number 6. I might catch some heat for that because there's because the rest of the dunkers here are none of them currently play anymore. He's the only one, but still.
Yeah. So my number 6 is someone who you recently just said, I think it might have been your number 8, but it was Shawn Kemp is who I got on there. Like he's one of those guys who I feel like in a way, the reason I probably put him over Blake Griffin, who's also a power forward, is I just feel like he has more of these dunks where it's like him, like maybe initiating the action. And it's also like, that's no slight to Blake because Blake's also a solid ball handler for a guy that's a power forward. But I just look at like Shawn Kemp and like just the way that like he can, bulldoze basically over anyone. He's not afraid to go over anybody, no matter their size, like his athleticism, it doesn't matter. I think when we think of Shawn Kemp, we definitely think of that one dunk where he dunked and pointed and he's like, haha, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, like just even probably just off that dunk alone, he would have earned a spot somewhere on this list. But I think just because he's such a ferocious dunker as well, and he's also like a versatile forward, that I think it also helps his ability as a dunker, and I gotta put him number 6. But yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So
all right, number 5.
Yeah, top 5 is getting
Top 5 is getting good, man. It's getting good. All right, here we go. Number 5, Nate the Great, Nate Robinson. Right now, I might catch some heat for this, and I shouldn't catch heat for this, but I might catch heat for this for some casuals who don't really watch the game. Right. In my opinion, he is the best short dunker of all time. Of all the short dunkers of all time, he is the best one. He's a 3-time dunk contest champion. He literally won dunk contests by jumping over 7-foot people. Dwight Howard jumping over 2, 3 7-footers, jumping over ridiculous things. I mean, putting the ball in his leg. I mean, just I can't sit here and even do justice for the dunks that Nate Robinson has did. I'm not going to say his force because he didn't necessarily have as much force as these other players, but his hang time, his creativity in air, and then what I think is most impressive, and I'll be honest, Garrett, and I know this may sound crazy, I considered putting him at number 1. I really, really considered putting him at number 1. And the reason why is because of the difficulty. When you look at all these other players, they're all 6'5", 6'6". They're all 6'6" and up. My 4, 3, 2, and 1 are all 6'6" and up. He is the only person that's 6'6" and down, and he's not like 6'1". He's not 6'2". He's 5'9", and he's won 3 dunk contests. And some of those dunk contests, and actually not some, all of those dunk contests have been against 7-footers. And then he was jumping over 7-footers to win it.
Yeah.
So I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but when you really kind of like pause and think about it, say, wait, this man was 5'9", jumping over 7-footers, won 3 dunk contests. He's tied for most dunk contest wins, and he's this short. Yeah, honestly, when you take all that into account and difficulty, I really wanted to put him at number 1, but I couldn't, so I put him at number 5.
I think that's definitely fair. Nate probably, other than Spud Webb, he's probably going to be the smallest guy that's even considered for this list. So my number 5 is someone who you just said before, Nate, and it is a current Chicago Bull, Zach LaVine. When you think about his dunk contest performances, his 2015 performance was like, it really, I think, caught people off guard because they're like, this might be the best performance we've seen in like a long, long time. And then to follow it up in 2016 when Aaron Gordon put up one of the greatest dunk contest performances we've ever seen. And whether you think like Aaron Gordon deserved it or not, like the fact that Zach LaVine even put himself in the position to make it a hard question at the end, like it's almost like his dunk contest performance there got taken for granted, and I completely understand if anyone thinks Gordon should have won that, but like the fact that it was that close, it went like to extra dunks like 4 or 5 times or rounds or whatever, like that says a lot about LaVine. And even though Gordon was the people's choice, like to win that, like everyone wanted him to win it because like he's new to the contest and like he brought out the Stuff the Magic Dragon, and who doesn't love Stuff the Magic Dragon? But I don't know. I think like with LaVine too, like he's just like it's just insane. Like the way that he can like swing the ball on the drive and then he always like throws it down. Like that's probably the one thing that he might have over a lot of these other guys. Like he kind of like sometimes swings the ball and then he'll throw down a dunk. Probably hasn't dunked as much recently, and maybe like I'd be willing to put him higher if he had been, but he's developed more as a 3-point shooter, so you definitely can't knock him for that. But I got to put him number 5 on my list. So yeah.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I'm right there with you. I love not right there with you. I don't have my number 5, but I'm saying I love Zach LaVine as a dunker, and I do feel you when you're saying that. Like it just looks a little better than, in my opinion, than Aaron Gordon's because he's just a little longer. So like when he extends that ball, it just extends longer and it just looks nicer. So
people took he did a windmill from the free throw line, and people were like, like we've seen, like we expect more out of him. That should almost just tell you.
Crazy. So that's crazy. That was wild. Man, and then it's kind of crazy to think too, because both are on the Bulls and both started their career as being known as dunkers, and DeMar and Zach LaVine, and then both have transitioned and got out of that reputation of just being dunkers. And except DeMar still can't shoot a 3. Exactly. but all right, let's keep pushing. Let's get to number 4. My number 4. I was super surprised you had him so, I guess, low in this instance. Jason Richardson. I mean, he's a 2-time dunk contest champion. He's known for his creativity in air. He had the Bay Area rocking back in the day. He had the dunk contest rocking back in the day. And another one that's also in-game and dunk contest dunker, Jason Richardson, because of his creativity and just because of the way he brought the crowd into it. Like you talk about Blake Griffin bringing the crowd into it. This man used to dunk and have the Oracle. It used to be called the Oracle Arena in the Bay Area over here. It gets so loud. They used to call it the Roracle. So they used to call it the Roracle Arena, and he used to have it rocking, man. So definitely shout out Jason Richardson, and he comes in at my number 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was so tough. Like, I think that's probably one of the things that I might have been willing to change if I like was gonna make a change or something to my list. Like, I was really thinking about putting him, I think, as high as 9. But I think maybe 13, 14 was probably the lowest I had him. So, and then I ended up putting him 12. But that's a good pick. He definitely has a lot of creativity with his dunks. But my guy at number 4 is someone else who is very creative with his dunks, and he might have had him actually around the same spot I had Jason Richardson. But I think it's someone that maybe you're underrating a little bit, and that is Dr. J, Julius Erving. I mean, when you think about Dr. J, the guy brings the ball behind the backboard, swings it around, and then throws it down. Like, no one could ever, a lot of people still can't even do that, right? Like, I think of everyone on my list, I think maybe Iguodala is the only one who's ever, like, tried something like that, and it was only like probably half as like effective in like going behind the backboard as Dr. J. Like just thinking of the influence he has like as a dunker, just I still think of that one iconic dunk that he had like in a fast break or whatever, and he like swung the ball like that. You know what I mean? So I had to put Dr. J on here. Maybe I'm a little biased because I've seen him in person, so I don't know, but I had to put him number 4.
Did he show you a dunk in person?
No, he just said, "What's up, fellas?" And that was
hey Garrett, check this out. I'm just kidding.
It dunks on me. No, but yeah. So I had to put him number 4. But what are you looking at for your number 3?
Man, number 3, man. This is where we get into real shaky territory. I don't think we've had one that's like the same. Like we've had one pick, which is really cool actually. But all right, number 3, I got none other than the high flyer himself, Dominique Wilkins. Man, I mean, he was a 2-time dunk contest winner. He's known for his powerful dunks and for his ability just to get absolutely like elbows over the rim. And I mean, when we think of Dominique, we have to think back to that 1988 dunk contest with Michael Jordan. They just were going at it. We want to talk about Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine going at it. Man, those dunk contests with Dominique and Michael Jordan back in the day were wild. Jordan, ultimately got more than Jordan ultimately, got the greater of him. But I do want to say Dominique was a ferocious dunker, man. So I gotta go Dominique at number 3.
Yeah, I like that pick. But my number 3 is not going to be Dominique, but it is someone you just said. And like you said about LeBron, sometimes you got to put your bias aside. I'm putting my guy, Michael Jordan, at number 3. They call him Air Jordan for a reason. The guy literally dunked from the free throw line and double clutched the ball all with one hand because he had huge hands, right? I mean, thinking of when he like spun baseline, then turned away, then came back and dunked on Patrick Ewing. When he dunked, when Mutombo's like, "You're never gonna get a dunk on me," and then all of a sudden he comes out later that season and then does, same exact thing. So you can't deny that. I mean, we know Michael Jordan as one of the greatest, if not the greatest player ever, but I mean, his dunking ability is one of the reasons. His athleticism. It's just something that's like off the charts, and you got to give him credit. I feel like based on your list, you might even actually have him higher than me. I guess we'll see, but I have to put him number 3 on my list.
I actually don't have Jordan. I'm just kidding. All right, number 2. That's exactly what I have. Michael Jordan. I mean, he's considered greatest dunker of all time. When you look at his athleticism, his explosiveness, his creativity in air, his hang time, his ability to get the crowd into it. Like we've been kind of picking and choosing, right? Like, oh, this player has this player has that, this player has this. Michael Jordan and number 1 have all of these things in one, and which is why they're 1 and 2. And I mean, when we look at some of his dunks he's did, like that's wild. Give him praise. And you talked about some of those baseline ones on Patrick Ewing and stuff like that. But what I think too, and when I was writing this thing, I was like, I put him at number 1 at first, and I'm writing some reasons, and I'm like, when you really stop and think about it, his whole brand and legacy is built off a dunk. So I'm like, man, he has to be either number 1 or 2. Unfortunately, fell to number 2, but number 1 is a great choice. So that is why I got number 2. It is Michael Jordan, and not really much else to say. You said it all.
Yeah, definitely agree with that pick. Maybe not at number 2, obviously, because I didn't have him there, but definitely a great pick, Air Jordan. Hard to top him as a dunker, but I think there are 2 guys that probably do, and one of them who is someone who you just put below him, and that is Dominique Wilkins. I mean, the human highlight film, it's just hard. Like, the guy had the thunder of the dunks for a guy that was like a small forward, and he would like double clutch it as well and like throw down. Like, it's just like hard to match his power and his creativity. I mean, realistically, like, even though Spud Webb is a legend, having won a dunk contest at 5'7", many would argue, if you go back in that he got robbed. The Dominique Wilkins the one year for the dunk contest. So like, just thinking about all that and like just how many posters this guy has, he might like. I would like to see like an actual stat on that if someone ever made one. But like, I wonder who has like the most posters like in NBA history. And like, I don't even know how you track that stat, but I would be willing to bet that Dominique Wilkins has probably the most, and if not the most, then he probably has like the most like top 10 plays of the night type of posters. So I'm putting him at number 2, but yeah, I mean, I guess now we're going to oh wait, were you gonna say something about that first, or?
No, I was just, I mean, I was gonna say Dominique is, yeah, he's definitely a dunk contest champ, but I was just gonna say, like, I'm glad we got the same number 1. I'm glad we got the same number 1.
Yep.
I'm glad we got the same number 1. Do you want to say it first, brother?
Yeah. So for my number 1, I actually have Connie Hawkins. No, I'm just kidding. No, Connie Hawkins is a great dunker, but no, I think it's pretty obvious. My number 1, Vince Carter, Vince Sanity. His 2000 dunk contest will probably never be touched. I mean, how many people have since tried to do like the same things as him? Like, it's been replicated over and over and over again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the only dunk contest he even participated in, right? But yet, like, his also in-game dunks are just like on another level. I mean, Alonzo Mourning might be a top 100 player ever, but he ended Alonzo Mourning's career. Like, just think about that. Like, I don't know. Like, and even like when he was really old in the league for years, he was still dunking. Like that's crazy.
360s at 49. 360s.
Yeah. So I have it number 1.
It's wild. Look, man, Vince Carter, he honestly made the dunk contest popular, right? He made the dunk contest popular. You talked about that the 2000 dunk contest where he put his elbow in the rim. I mean, we have songs that talk about it in the basketball. Vince Carter came in and stuck his arm in the elbow. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we have stuff like that. We have the fact that this man has a 43-inch vertical. When you look up Vince Carter dunks, one of the first thing that comes up is him jumping over an entire 7-foot man in the USA game. Like, it's just absurd. Like, Vince Carter and his dunks are crazy. They woke up the entire country of Canada and put him on it. A lot of people call it like Air Toronto or like Air Canada and stuff like that. And people gave that name a lot because of Vince too. So I mean, Vince. I was about to say Vince McGrady. Vince Carter. Vince Carter is not arguably, no doubt in my mind, the best dunker in NBA history, in game and dunk.
Yeah, I mean, like, just think about like it's just like you got to have the swagger to it too. I mean, we saw like Jericho Sims this year. He tried to do the honey dip. It's like, come on, man. Like, you don't got it like that. He tried it twice and it didn't work. So like that just shows you like how crazy it is like with Vince. And I feel like honestly, like if he was in his prime and he was doing a dunk contest again today, like he would still find new things, to 100%. Add to the mix. So
that's his creativity.
Yeah. Like, cause we'd never seen anything like that before. And now as Kenny Smith would say, the list is over. Yeah. No, I guess like before we wrap it up, did you want to like, who did you like leave off, or who did you like consider maybe that you didn't put on the list?
Man, honestly, I've been really fighting with that Paul George one. I'm trying to find where I can put Paul George here, because I agree, Paul George is probably a top 25 dunker of all time. But it's just I'm really having a rough time. But let me see. I'm scrolling through my list real quick, and
I'm surprised you didn't have like Donovan Mitchell on your list, or Rudy Gay.
Out of all those guys, I'd have Paul George first. Out of all those guys,
yeah,
I'd have Paul George first. And I really am having a hard time finding a place for Paul George. But if I did have to put him somewhere, he'd probably take, I want to say Russ's spot, but because I feel like Paul George is more of a in-game and dunk contest dunker.
Yeah, and also can't forget David Thompson. Definitely.
Man.
Yeah, there were some I was considering. Like, I really, actually, first of all, the first guy you had on your list, Giannis, I originally had him on my list, but I unfortunately took him out. I also originally had DeAndre Jordan on my list, and that was tough to take out because I'm like, man, this guy has like the power, he's got the athleticism, but I'm like, how would he fare like in like a creating your own dunk scenario? Like he's an alley-oop legend, right? But I'm just trying to think of that perspective. Other guys like DeMar DeRozan. I actually had Connie Hawkins as one of mine. That's why I said him there as a joke. But definitely him. D Wade, Nate the Great Robinson. I think also like Larry Nance, Josh Smith. I mean that might be another one too.
Josh Smith. I forgot about Josh Smith. Josh Smith had one of the craziest left hands, most powerful / fast dunks of all time.
I wanted to put DeMar, but it was just so hard to put him in. Like if we did 30, he probably would have made it. And then this guy went to made the list, but I think he has sneaky dunks every once in a while, not as often. But I think Kawhi has sneaky dunks. You know.
Okay. Okay,
like,
I'll give you some sneaky dunks. I don't know about top 25 though, but
maybe
this is a top 40 list.
Well, remember that dunk he had on I think it was Kleber in the playoffs a few years ago, and everyone pointed like that was insane. He had one on I think it was against the Jazz as well. Like he almost floated. That was the game he actually got hurt in the first half of that game. Another one, and then like that left hand against Giannis in the conference final. Like I feel like he has such a weird array of dunks that it's like I just had to put him as a considerable nominee, like at the very least, because I'm like that's just insane, you know.
And I feel like honestly, this is what I feel like about Kawhi. Like I feel like if he were to advocate for himself more, or I guess just be a little more out there, I think he would have became more top to mind because like I would have a hard time finding a place for Paul George on this. I mean, not Paul George, Kawhi Leonard on this list.
Yeah.
But then again, you bring up some great points. Like he is a good dunker, but I feel like he didn't really I guess advocate for himself. He's not really out there. So when you make a list, he just doesn't come top to mind. Versus a player like T-Mac, right? I feel like T-Mac's also another good dunker who really advocated for himself, was out there. So.
Maybe you could argue my guy D Rose if he had done that more, maybe as well.
Man,
so
D Rose too, man. So I don't know, Garrett. You like all the quiet guys, Garrett.
Yeah, just strictly business. But
I love that. I love that. Strictly business, baby.
But yeah, other than that though, I think that's basically gonna close it out. Hope you guys enjoyed again. Do you have any other final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
No, man. Just appreciate you having me on the show, man. Everybody go check out Clutch Talk. We drop 3 new episodes per week, man. Come check me out. Social media at Clutch Talk Pod. I'm on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that. Get at me, man.
For sure. I'll have his stuff down below as I usually do. And this was really fun. I'm glad we actually got to do this. This might have been one of the funner debates because it's like there were so many things and we didn't really agree on anything but number one. So
yes, sir. That's the best way to do it, though.
Yeah. But yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace. All right.
All right, bro.